Hi, so I'm rendering this still life of this glass and this bottle, but I have this problem where I'm having a lot of this noise here, right? And the obvious choice is to up your samples, but I don't want to up my samples and then wait for it to render just to see if it's good, or I don't know what samples I have to up or what the numbers are here. Like I can just dial this up to like 6 or 5 or whatever, let that render, and see if it's gonna look good. But it's gonna take forever to see if I even need those samples. So I kind of want like a quick and easy way to see what my samples should be. And a nice trick, if we set this back to its default, a nice trick is to use what we call AOVs. And basically what that means is our image is basically composited with its color and the specularity and the transmissions and all that. It's all layered on top of each other. So to set up your samples, actually what you need to do is we just go back and do this. So to get your samples, you just see through this list which one you want, and once you click on it, you just hit this arrow and it brings it over to the side. So we want like albedo, diffuse, um, specular, SS, and transmission. And then you'll see it on this list right here when you got it. And that's basically what we see here, right? So if I were to go to AOVs and I were to just choose some of these passes here, like I have diffuse, specular, and transmission, which are basically the ones that we see here. When we render, we pull up the Arnold render view. If we press play, in this dropdown where it says beauty, we can select our albedo, diffuse, specular, and transmission. And here we can isolate which of these, each one of these passes, and we can up these numbers if we want and see if it's efficient. We can keep upping the numbers until we find something that we're reasonable, that we're comfortable with, right? So that it's looking good while at the same time not slowing down our computer for no reason, right? So if in this case the two biggest ones are transmission and specularity, those are normally the ones that we need to up the most. So as we see here, right, the transmission, we go to our transmission and we see that there's a bunch of noise here, and we don't like that. So I can bump up. I can try something like 3, let that render, or even like if I shift box, I can let this render, and I can see that it's a little bit better, but there's still a little bit of noise on there. So I can bump this up to 4. Oops, not 14. Yikes, that is not good. Let's try 4. And we can see it's a little bit better, but I think one more would be good. Um, so the thing is that now I'm hitting that part where I do not know if I go any higher, if it's going to be worth it, right? Because obviously I can make this higher and higher, but I'm to a point where I don't even know if it's worth it. It's getting kind of slow now, and if I have to render an animation, it might take a little bit longer. It's going to take like per frame, right? It's an exponential growth. So to be honest, I think I'm going to leave that here for right now for this transmission. So we got a good transmission for 5. Uh, Subsurface, yeah, I have no subsurface. It's not even a point. Specular. Specular is the other big one, like I said. So if I make a new box and I put it right here, it's going to render. Specularity and transmission are always the slowest too, so it might take a minute. So this is super noisy, so let's up this to 3. This one's taking a while to render. I'm actually going to dial this back down to 2 for now, but we know that that's 5. That does not seem to be affecting it, so I'm actually going to bring that back. Oh, no, it's going. Alright, cool. So, we can see it's still a little bit noisy, so I'm going to bump this up to 4. And there you go. So I'm going to keep this at 4. I can obviously can get better, but I think for what it's worth, for what it was pretty fast, and at the same time, it looks good. So I think I'm good with that. Let's see if I can change that back to 5, if that does anything. Yeah, so this definitely seems to be slowing down the render, so I'm actually going to bring that back to 4 as well, just to make it a little bit faster. Yeah, we can see that's definitely slowing down the machine. Alright. That's fine, though. For now, I'm going to leave this at 2, because we just know that's the slowest one. Diffuse. If we go here, diffuse normally is pretty fast, so let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, diffuse definitely needs a boost. Let's make that like 3. I'm gonna bring that, so we know that's 4, that's 5. And let's see what diffuse looks like. See, that looks super spotty. That looks super spotty, but besides that, everything else looks good. I actually don't want this here. This is a render artifact, so I'm actually going to ignore that, because I'm going to remove that in comp. But everything else, no, actually this looks a little noisy too, so maybe if I bring that up to 4 as well. Let's see what, actually, let me render region this. There we go. That looks way better. So I'm going to keep that at 4. I know specular's at 4, and transmission's at 5. So yeah, that's basically that. And the last one, which is the big one, is this camera anti-aliasing. And that one's super simple. If we just go to our beauty, we can just go right here. And just look at the edging, right? Because that's what anti-aliasing is. It's like the edging. So it's a little smooth, but we can see like right along here it gets pretty bad. So let me bring this up to like 2. Let's see what that looks like. Actually, maybe if I go to albedo. Let's see if that smooths out. Let's bring that back. 2, 2, 2. Also, we can make subsurfacing actually just 0 because we know there's no subsurfacing in there, which is kind of cool. Okay. I'm gonna actually make that 3. Just to... It was pretty much there. I just want to smooth that a little bit more. Let's see what that looks like. Cool. I like that. So, there we go. We basically have 4, 4, and 5. And we set that up, so now we have the most what we call, what you can call the bang for the buck when it comes to our render samples. So now we can just render out like that. Obviously it might be a little slow, but this is basically the max that you would want, right? And now we can just play around with these numbers until you get something good. But yeah, so that's going to be pretty helpful for you when you start trying to render. But yeah, that's it. It was just a little trick. Thank you for watching, and see you later.